at the payment method now. Payment method in international trade deal with modality for exchange of shipping documents for payment on goods that have been shipped by the seller. The selection of which payment term is used in a trade transaction likely depends on a number of issues, and some of these include relationship between the buyer and the seller. Some of these include availability of facility and working capital to the buyer and seller. Some of these include the countries involved in the transaction. The payment method in international trade include open account, bill for collection, letter of credit, advance payment, and bank payment obligation. So when I'm going to deal with someone abroad, there are critical questions that I need to answer as an exporter. And that will also inform the kind of payment method I will agree. If I have a relationship with the buyer already, I can afford to do open account or even bill for collection site, which allow him to pay at a later date. However, if I do not have working capital and I need money, I won't do open account or bill for collection. I might even want to do advance payment or payment aside. If I'm doing bill for collection in number one, I can do bill for collection tenor, but in number two, I want to do side because I need the payment to come in as fast as possible. Now, if I am not comfortable with the country in question, because there is war, because of economic downturn, because of political risk, economic risk, I might want a payment method that guarantee my payment. And will not just guarantee my payment, it will guarantee my payment even from other countries. I'm shipping to Venezuela, but payment will come from the US. I'm shipping to Russia. If sanction is not affecting the product I'm shipping, currently it's better to be careful of any product you are shipping to Russia because you might be caught in the web of sanction from EU and sanction from the US or sanction from NATO. So let's look at what is often described as risk ladder. Here is the risk ladder. I'm a seller, the exporter, and you can see where my risk is. I have the lowest risk when I receive advance payment, but I'm having the highest risk when I do open account. And I will explain open account shortly for those of us that might not be aware of some of these terms. An open account transaction means that goods are shipped and delivered before payment is due. You get that? And it's usually 30 to 90 days, in some cases more. Obviously, this is the most advantageous option for importer in terms of cash flow and cost terms. But it is consequently the highest risk option for an exporter. Because of the intense competition for export market, foreign buyers often press exporter for open account terms. In addition, the extension of credit by seller to buyer is more common abroad. Therefore, exporters who are reluctant to extend credit may face the possibility of loss of the sales to their competitors. However, while this method of payment will definitely enhance export competitiveness, exporters should thoroughly examine the political and economic risk and commercial risk, as well as cultural influence, to ensure that payment will be received in full and on time. It is possible to substantially mitigate the risk of non-payment associated with open account trade by using such trade finance instruments like export credit insurance. Open account is recommended for use in secure trade relationship or market, or in competitive market to win customer with the use of one or more appropriate trade finance technique. It's recommended for use when there is a secure trade relationship. We know ourselves, we understand ourselves, we've done business together. Like I do business with, I have a partner in the UK we ship to regularly, but it was because we've worked together for some time and I've met him one-on-one. He's a distributor in the UK for African food. Risk, exporter face significant risk as buyer could default on payment obligation after shipment of goods. Merit, it boosts competitiveness in the global market. if you are trying to go into export business, sometimes you might be able to win the heart of a buyer if you are willing to give him goods to pay later. Then he can easily trust you that, okay, you seem to know what you are doing. However, I emphasized this severally at the session we have at the head office last week, and that was that a business doing open account must have a means of following up on payment and avoiding payment default. And one of the ways to get that done is by having a representative at the destination market. And this is extremely important. And I use the word extremely important because that rep at destination will do two things. It can help in marketing. It can help in follow-up on payment. It can help in diverting the goods to another buyer if the current buyer is not ready to pay us at when due. It can help to re-export the goods or deliver the goods or give the shipping document that give access to the goods to another buyer. Boost competitiveness in the global market, establish and maintain a successful trade relationship. What is the demerit? Expose significantly to the risk of not getting paid. That is the challenge. And then additional cost. If you must mitigate the risk, you use a guarantee or an export credit insurance, and typically that will come at an additional cost. Open account. Exporter, ship the goods, send document to the importer. Importer goes to the port, clear the goods, and pay at a later date. Of course, like we said earlier, there is a risk of not getting paid in this arrangement. And that risk can be anticipated and mitigated with trade finance instrument like export credit insurance. And I said, currently Nexim have a product like that. That product came into being in 2020 to support export businesses in Nigeria, but it's not well publicized. So I'm sure some of us here are probably hearing for the first time. And that's the challenge of government agencies. There's something about just having brilliant initiative and keeping it to themselves alone.